All right, let's kick things off with a little brain teaser.
Oh, fun.
What's a seven-letter word that even a kindergartner can spell, but even the most successful people sometimes struggle to achieve?
Hmm. 7 letters.
It's success.
Success, of course.
Exactly. And speaking of success, we've got a really interesting set of materials for our deep dive today.
I was just looking them over. Very interesting.
We're going to be talking about the law of attraction, turning wishes into action, and get this, we even have 80 motivational quotes
80A.
to keep us inspired along the way.
I'm already feeling motivated.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics.
You mean like what is success?
Yeah, how does the source material actually define it?
Well, it boils down to this.
Mm.
Achieving something that takes real effort, which I think cuts through a lot of the noise out there.
Absolutely. It's not just about wishing or hoping.
Right, you've got to put in the work.
And that makes you think about all the different areas of life where success doesn't just magically appear, right?
Oh, definitely. Relationships, family, your health, your career, starting a business.
All of those things take consistent effort, which is something the source material really hammers home.
It's not a one-time thing. It's about showing up day after day.
The source even uses some great examples, like you can't expect to just have an amazing relationship.
Right, if neither person is really putting in the effort to make it work.
It's not just going to happen on its own.
It's like you can't just magically bake a cake without actually mixing the ingredients and turning on the oven.
Right. Okay, so effort is key. But then the source introduces this idea of a pyramid of success.
A pyramid, interesting.
Which is kind of like a spin on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know that pyramid?
Right, with the basic needs at the bottom and self-actualization at the top.
It takes that concept and kind of turns it into this two-tiered model for success.
2 tiers, how does that work?
The law of attraction is like the base, the foundation.
Okay, so that's the first tier.
Right, but then it adds the law of action on top as that essential next step,
Yeah. So you need both, the attraction and the action.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, the source uses this old Chinese idiom, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, 守株待兔,
守株待兔. Okay.
which apparently translates to waiting for a rabbit by a stump.
Waiting for a rabbit. What does that even mean?
It's a story about this farmer, right? And he sees this rabbit run into a tree stump and die just out of sheer luck.
Wow. What are the chances of that?
And instead of going back to work on his farm, he just sits by that stump waiting for more rabbits to do the same thing.
He's just waiting for more lucky rabbits.
Yeah, and of course, you can guess what happens.
His crops probably failed.
His crops fail. He ends up with nothing. It's like
Yeah.
a cautionary tale,
Don't just rely on luck.
Don't just rely on luck, exactly.
So just like that farmer, if you're only relying on the law of attraction without any action, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
You can't just sit back and expect the universe to hand you everything you want.
Right, you have to meet the universe halfway.
And that's what I think a lot of people misunderstand about the law of attraction.
It's not just about positive thinking.
It's not just about wishing and hoping.
You have to actually take steps towards your goals.
So let's dig a little deeper into this law of attraction. The source lays out some pretty core principles, like attracts, like
Wait, that one I've heard before.
your thoughts become things.
Thoughts become things, powerful stuff.
The idea that persistence really matters, even the idea that thoughts have their own frequency.
Frequency. Now that's interesting.
There's a lot to unpack here.
You got a lot to cover.
The source even challenges you to think about your life right now. Like, how did you get to where you are? Did things happen because of fate or because of the thoughts you were having along the way?
Thought-provoking.
It makes you wonder, are we accidentally manifesting things we don't even want?
Because we're not paying attention to our thoughts.
Exactly, which is kind of a scary thought.
Makes you want to be more mindful.
Now, speaking of the law of attraction, the source specifically mentions The Secret.
Oh yeah, The Secret. That was huge a few years ago.
That book and that movie, they really put the law of attraction on the map.
So how does the source connect The Secret to all of this?
It explains that The Secret is essentially explaining the law of attraction, and it uses this really interesting analogy of radio frequencies.
Radio frequencies, how does that work?
Each thought you have is like a radio wave with its own frequency.
Okay, I'm following so far.
And when you tune your radio to a specific station, you're basically aligning the receiver with that station's frequency.
So are you saying that with the law of attraction, we're trying to tune our thoughts to the frequency of what we want to manifest?
That's exactly it.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
But how do you know if you're on the right frequency, so to speak?
That's where feelings come in.
Feelings.
Yeah, the source quotes Lisa Nichols. She says, you basically only have two types of feelings, good and bad.
Good and bad, that's it.
If you're feeling good, chances are you're on a frequency that's aligned with what you want.
But if you're feeling bad,
That might be a sign that you need to adjust your thinking, get back in alignment with what you truly desire.
so our feelings are like a built-in guidance system.
Like a compass, pointing us towards what we really want.
I love that analogy, a compass for our thoughts.
It's about paying attention to those subtle cues, those gut feelings.
And using them to guide our actions, to make choices that are aligned with our true desires.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with our thoughts and our energy.
And trusting that the universe is always working with us, not against us.
And remember, success isn't just about luck or positive thinking. It's about taking action.
It's about showing up, putting in the effort, and never giving up on what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. And that's where those 80 motivational quotes are going to come in handy.
We'll make sure to share those with you in the show notes so you can keep those words of wisdom close at hand.
Because we all need a little boost of inspiration sometimes, right?
Absolutely. We'll be right back after a quick break.
It's like they're telling us, hey, are you on the right track or do you need to make some adjustments?
Right. Are we vibing high or low?
Exactly.
And the source material actually gives us this really cool 3-step framework to help us manifest what we want.
A framework, like a blueprint.
Yeah, it calls it the creative process.
Okay, I like that.
What do you think? Are you ready to get creative?
I'm always up for a little creation. Let's hear it.
All right, step 1 is ask. And this is where it emphasizes being super clear about what you actually want, like really specific.
Not just like, I want to be happy.
Right, that's too vague.
You have to define what happiness actually looks like for you.
The source uses this analogy of ordering a pizza, You wouldn't call back 5 times to make sure they got the order right.
No, you just trust that they heard you the first time.
So you just ask once, and then you trust that the universe has heard you.
No need to spam the cosmic pizza delivery service.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've placed our order with the universe.
Right, what's next?
Step 2 is believe. And this is where it gets a little tricky.
Tricky, how so?
Well, the source uses this phrase, living in denial.
Living in denial, that sounds kind of negative.
It's not what you think. It basically means believing you've already received what you asked for, even if there's no physical evidence of it yet.
So it's like acting as if it's already happened.
Exactly. Even if your current reality looks totally different.
That takes a lot of faith, doesn't it?
It does.
To believe even when you can't see the results yet.
There's this great quote from Bob Proctor that the source includes. He says, anyone that has ever accomplished anything did not know how they were going to do it. They only knew they were going to do it.
Powerful quote. It's about trusting the process, even when you don't have all the answers.
Letting go of that need to control every little detail.
So we've asked, we've believed. What's the final step?
The last step is feel.
Feel. Okay, what does that mean?
This is about tapping into the emotions you would experience if you already had what you desire, really immersing yourself in those feelings.
Okay, so if you're trying to manifest, let's say, financial abundance.
You would focus on the feelings of freedom and security that come with having plenty of money.
Or if you want a deeper connection with your partner.
You would cultivate those feelings of love, warmth, and intimacy.
Like you're already experiencing that deep connection.
It's about creating an energetic blueprint, aligning your vibration with what you want to attract.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about feeling those positive emotions as if they're already real.
Exactly. It's about embodiment.
Okay, so we've got the 3 steps. Ask, believe, feel. But here's the thing. We've all heard about the law of attraction, maybe even tried it out a few times.
Right. Some of us more successfully than others.
But sometimes it feels like it's not working the way it's supposed to,
Like you're doing everything right, but nothing's happening.
You're not alone. The source actually acknowledges that a lot of people hit those roadblocks.
Which is why it gives us those 3 tips to help us overcome the challenges.
Okay, remind us, what's the first tip?
It's all about managing expectations. People often get overly ambitious when they first start using the law of attraction.
Right, they want to manifest $1 million overnight.
They set these unrealistic timelines, or they expect huge changes to happen right away.
And when it doesn't happen that fast, they get discouraged.
The source uses a great analogy. It talks about starting with appetizers, not diving straight into the main course.
So instead of trying to manifest a mansion by next week, maybe focus on a smaller, more achievable goal.
Something that will help you build confidence and trust in the process.
Like attracting a parking space or getting a free coffee.
Exactly. Those little wins add up.
And another thing, it emphasizes letting go of rigid timelines.
Who knows, the universe might have something even better planned for you.
But It might not be on your schedule.
Patience is definitely key when it comes to the law of attraction.
So we've got patience, we've got realistic expectations. What's the second tip?
This one is about achieving vibrational alignment.
Vibrational alignment, that sounds pretty intense.
It's the idea that we have three levels of mind: conscious, subconscious, and vibrational.
3 minds, wow.
And for manifestation to really work, all three need to be in sync.
They need to be on the same page.
Imagine an iceberg, okay? Your conscious mind is the tip you see above the water. The subconscious is the part hidden below.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
And the vibrational mind is like the water itself,
Mhm.
the energy that surrounds and connects everything.
So the vibrational mind is like the energy field that's influenced by our thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly. The source suggests that when all three levels of mind are aligned, that's when you create the most fertile ground for manifestation.
Okay, so how do we get all 3 minds on the same page?
Well, the source recommends checking out this video by Croy Sater. He really delves into this concept.
We'll make sure to include a link to that in the show notes.
Definitely, because this is some powerful stuff.
All right, so we've got managed expectations, we've got vibrational alignment. What's the third and final tip?
This one is short and sweet. It's action. Remember that farmer and the rabbit? He got lucky once, but then he just sat around waiting for more luck instead of working his fields.
He wasn't taking any action.
And as we know, luck eventually runs out.
So instead of just relying on luck or the law of attraction, we need to be proactive, make things happen.
The source puts it this way: the universe only moves when you do. It's like the law of attraction is starting your car, but action is actually pressing the gas pedal.
Love that analogy. So the law of attraction sets the intention, but it's action that gets us moving towards our goal.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, the law of attraction supports your actions.
Oh, so.
It gives you signs, hunches, opportunities. It's like the universe is whispering guidance to you all the time.
But sometimes those whispers are pretty quiet.
It's our job to listen closely and then act on those whispers.
Okay, here's the thing. Even when you're super motivated and ready to take action, there's this little thing called procrastination that always seems to get in the way.
Ah, yes, procrastination, the universal struggle.
What does the source have to say about overcoming that urge to put things off?
Well, it actually dives into this fascinating TED Talk by Tim Urban called Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. He talks about this concept of the instant gratification monkey.
The instant gratification monkey. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's like our brains have this rational decision maker that wants to achieve those long-term goals, but then we have this instant gratification monkey that only wants pleasure in the moment.
Like a battle for control of our brain.
Exactly. And the source suggests that the key to overcoming procrastination, to taming that monkey, is through motivation.
Okay, so motivation is the antidote to procrastination. But how do we find that motivation, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed or stuck?
That's where those 80 motivational quotes come in.
Oh, yeah, those quotes. I'm ready for some inspiration.
The source emphasizes their power to help us overcome obstacles, to shift our perspective, to keep us focused on our goals.
It's like having a personal cheerleader in your pocket.
We'll have the full list of quotes in the show notes so you can revisit them whenever you need a boost.
Can't wait to check those out.
And remember, the law of attraction is a powerful tool, but it's only one part of the equation. Action is what brings your desires into reality.
It's that perfect blend of intention and effort.
And when you combine those two forces, that's when the magic really happens.
So true.
And with that in mind, I'm curious, what's one specific action you're going to take today to move closer to a goal you've been putting off?
Even a small step in the right direction can make a huge difference, right?
You got it.
We'll be right back after this quick break. It's like we need a secret decoder ring for the universe.
Right? Like, what's the code?
How do we translate these cosmic whispers into concrete actions?
Well, I think the source material does offer some clues. Remember how it's talked about those signs and signals?
Those hunches and gut feelings, yeah.
What if those are actually the universe's way of nudging us in the right direction?
Okay, but those can be so subtle sometimes.
They can.
It's like, am I reading too much into this, or is this a real sign?
I think it's about paying attention, being open to those possibilities.
So instead of dismissing those random urges or that pull towards a certain book or event, maybe we should see them as potential opportunities.
Like breadcrumbs leading us towards our goals.
I like that, cosmic breadcrumbs. But sometimes those breadcrumbs lead us out of our comfort zone, which can be a little scary,
Oh yeah, growth rarely happens in our comfort zone.
So maybe taking action means being willing to stretch ourselves, to try new things, even if it feels a little risky.
Embrace the challenge, right?
Right, and the source also talks about consistency.
It's not about making one grand gesture. It's about those small, persistent efforts over time.
It's like that saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's the thing. Sometimes it feels like you're doing all the right things, you know?
You're putting in the work, you're listening to your intuition.
But nothing seems to be happening.
It's like you hit a wall.
What does the source say about those times when it feels like the law of attraction just isn't working?
Well, remember it talked about the missing piece
Hmm.
and those 3 roadblocks we discussed earlier. Managing expectations, vibrational alignment, and of course, procrastination.
Right.
Each of those roadblocks can give us some clues about what kind of actions we might be missing.
Okay, so let's break those down one by one. First up, managing expectations.
It's so easy to get caught up in that initial excitement,
Oh, I know. It's like, I'm gonna manifest a dream house and a yacht by next month.
But the source reminds us that patience is key.
Maybe it's about focusing on those appetizers first, those smaller, more achievable goals,
Something to get the ball rolling. Build that trust in the process.
and letting go of those rigid timelines, because who knows, maybe the universe has an even better plan, but it's not on our schedule.
Trusting the timing of things.
Okay, what about that second roadblock? Vibrational alignment, getting all 3 minds on the same page.
It's like becoming an energetic matchmaker for our own thoughts and beliefs.
Okay, that's a cool way to think about it.
The source talks about aligning our vibrational minds with the gifts the universe has waiting for us. It's about shifting our focus from lack to abundance.
So it's about feeling grateful for what we already have, believing that good things are on their way.
Cultivating that sense of abundance, knowing that there's more than enough for everyone.
And then there's that third roadblock, our old friend procrastination.
Ah, yes, the master of distraction.
The source keeps coming back to motivation as the key to overcoming procrastination.
But how do we actually cultivate that motivation when we're feeling overwhelmed or just plain lazy?
It can't just be about willpower.
No, it has to come from a deeper place.
It's about connecting with that deeper why behind our goals. You know, why do we want to achieve this?
What's the feeling we're chasing?
Because when we're connected to that emotional energy, that's what keeps us going when things get tough.
Right, it's not about forcing ourselves to do things we hate.
It's about finding that alignment between our actions and our heart's desires.
It reminds me of one of those motivational quotes that really stuck with me.
Which one was that?
It was Nelson Mandela. He said, "It always seems impossible until it's done."
So powerful, it reminds us that we're capable of so much more than we often give ourselves credit for.
We just have to believe in ourselves and take that first step.
And for anyone feeling a little lost or discouraged, those 80 quotes are waiting for you in the show notes.
Little dose of inspiration to keep you going.
And you know, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm struck by how the source material really empowers us to take control of our lives.
It's not about passively waiting for things to happen. It's about actively creating the reality we want.
It's a beautiful reminder that we're not just passengers on this journey, we're the drivers.
We have the power to choose our direction, to navigate the twists and turns, and to manifest our dreams into reality.
And with that in mind, we'll leave you with this final thought. What's one small action you can take today to move closer to a goal you've been putting off?
Even the smallest step can create a ripple effect, leading to extraordinary results.
Until next time, keep diving deep, stay curious, and remember, the universe is always conspiring to help you succeed a